Ah, I'm Davy. I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Wrestling, where I review wrestling-related things, all from the perspective of a fan, not an insider. And this week, the review for AEW Revolution 2023. The opening match, Chris Jericho versus Ricky Starks. The rivalry that had been brewing for a while when Ricky Starks got a pin over Chris Jericho and didn't sit well with him. But for some reason didn't want a rematch. Stipulation though that the Jericho Appreciation Society is banned from ringside. It was good back and forth, and even though the JAS was banned from ringside, at some point Sammy Guevara was going to come out anyway. But before he could get to the ring, he was stopped by Action Andretti. However, this all did distract Starks enough for Chris Jericho to pull out Floyd. Starks was able to recover, get the Rochambeau, and get the win over Chris Jericho. It was a pretty good opener. Not great, but good. I would easily give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then the final burial. Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry. This was a great match. And in this match, Jack Perry really took a beating. Not to say he didn't give any back to Christian Cage, but he took the majority of the beating in this match. He even took a kill switch onto the dirt mound next to the coffin. But he was able to avoid a concerto and eventually give one to Christian Cage, which knocked Christian Cage out enough so that he could pick up Christian Cage and throw him into the casket that would sink under the ground. So basically the final burial was a casket match, sort of. It's like a combination casket match, buried alive match. But either way, Jungle Boy Jack Perry wins. And I will say, to me, I hope this rivalry is over because in my opinion that was the perfect way to end it. And I would easily give it a 4 out of 5. Yay! Then for the AEW Trios Championships, the House of Black, Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King versus the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Like most Trios matches, this was a crazy back and forth match. A lot of chaos, a lot of close calls. At one point, Julia Hart got on the apron, and this led to her getting knocked off the apron, accidentally but still, by Kenny Omega. And it ended after Matthews and King got the Dante's Inferno onto Mac Jackson, allowing Malachi Black to get the pin over Mac Jackson, and we have new AEW Trios champions. Like I said, it was very entertaining, very chaotic. I would give this one another 4 out of 5. Yay! Then a 3-way match for the AEW Women's World Championship. Saraya versus Ruby Soho versus champion Jamie Hayter. This match honestly was okay, but for a triple threat it was kinda standard. Like, there was really nothing all that fantastic that happened in this match. Sorry. And it did end with Hayter getting a pin over Soho. However, what was interesting in this match was the aftermath. After she got the pin over Ruby Soho, and it looked like Ruby Soho was going to take the loss graciously, Soho turned heel on Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, joining forces with Saraya and Toni Storm. Which makes sense, because it's the whole thing of a faction of people who made themselves a name somewhere else versus the people who are like homegrown AEW talents. So even though the match itself was pretty standard, and I kind of expected more from it, the story they're telling is really good. So, 3 out of 5. Yay! Then a Texas Death Match between Hangman Adam Page and Jon Moxley. Texas Death meaning, of course,
there will be blood.
However, I do gotta say, with Jon Moxley bleeding in pretty much every match, him having a match like this is kind of losing its luster. But I will give Jon Moxley this, he always finds ways to make you cringe. In this case, the part that probably made me cringe the most was when he put Hangman Page's hand in between 2 bricks and stomped on it. Or later doing a curb stomp onto one of those bricks. But it was after Page got his buckshot lariat onto Jon Moxley and then flipped him over the top of the rope while choking him with a chain that Moxley tapped out and Hangman Page got the win. Which honestly I didn't see coming. I really thought Moxley was going to win this one. However, like I said, the cringe and the brutality and the blood, when it comes to Jon Moxley being involved, is starting to get a little bit who cares. But it was still good enough to earn at least a 4 out of 5. Yay! Then for the TNT Championship, Wardlow versus Samoa Joe. It was okay. But really it was just okay. Wardlow at a couple points in the match did a few dives, but the problem I had with him is the dives themselves felt pointless. Was like they just seemed very unnecessary, like he was only doing them to show that he could do it. And then later Wardlow choked out Samoa Joe to get the win, which I'm not going to pretend I was happy about because I've gone on record, I'm not a big fan of Wardlow. I don't understand his appeal. I just really don't. I don't get it. So really in this contest, like I said, it was okay. Just okay. It's weird to say this about a match involving Samoa Joe, but I would really only give this one a 2 out of 5. Then a 4-way for the AEW Tag Team Championships. The Gun Club defending their championships against Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, Danhausen and Orange Cassidy, and the Acclaimed. The match was chaotic and a little too chaotic in my opinion. It was a little hard to follow here and there. And after a lot of chaos and a little interference from Satnam Singh, Gun Club got the 310 to Yuma onto Danhausen and got the pin, retaining their AEW Tag Team Championships. Kind of like with the AEW Women's Championship match they had earlier, the real exciting part about this came after the match, when we have the return of FTR, who still have a rivalry going with the Gun Club and have made it clear it's not over. With the story being told and the match itself being pretty good, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then the main event, 60-minute Iron Man match for the AEW World Championship. Bryan Danielson versus MJF. This was a 60-minute Iron Man match, which means it could have been really boring or really exciting. It comes down to it, there is no okay in an Iron Man match. There's only it sucks or it was awesome. This one was awesome. Somewhere around having 34 minutes left, Danielson got the first fall with a Psycho knee onto MJF. And then a minute later, MJF hit Danielson with a low blow, getting himself disqualified, but also picking up 2 consecutive falls, one right after the other. So tying it 2-2. Then later we got MJF doing an elbow drop from the top rope onto Danielson on the outside through a table. And then he tombstoned Danielson through the remaining part of the table that wasn't that broken. Basically, MJF was pissed at that table. Then immediately he got Danielson inside the ring, hit him with the Heat Seeker, and got the third fall, making it 3-2. Then, when there was about 10 minutes left, a nice touch, Danielson got a submission onto MJF with the Regal Stretch, tying it 3-3. But then the match went for the next 10 minutes, and it became a draw. But of course, like in most Iron Man match rules, there has to be a winner, so this went into sudden death, meaning the next fall was ultimately going to win the match. And it went for about 10 more minutes, when finally, MJF from the outside grabbed an oxygen tank and hit Danielson with it, but the ref didn't see it. Then to add insult to injury, MJF put Danielson into the LeBell Lock, and for a couple of minutes being in this LeBell Lock, finally Danielson tapped out, making MJF the winner. Like I said, this match was freaking awesome. All the drama was there, all the excitement was there. They pulled it off, which a 60-minute Iron Man match is not that easy to pull off. This match ends the night with an easy 5 out of 5. Yeah! So, AEW Revolution 2023 overall was good. Really good. Not their best, I will say that. The main event was honestly the only match I would say was worthy of a 5. Then there were about 3 4s, 3 3s, and 1 2. Because of all that, I do say that this was a really good pay-per-view. It is definitely worth watching. But I would say it's not their best. Then again, they can't always be the best. I would just say it was really, really good. 60-minute Iron Man match, I pretty much knew was going to be awesome, and it didn't disappoint. The Texas Death Match, like I kind of said, it's losing its effect considering that Moxley does that kind of stuff literally almost every match. Almost every match he has, he bleeds. It's not as exciting when it happens all the time. It's kind of what my problem was towards the end of the Attitude Era. As much as I love the Attitude Era, it was getting old seeing hardcore match after hardcore match after hardcore match. I kind of feel like that's like putting salt on your food. It shouldn't be the flavor, it should just add flavor. The women's match, I would say was good, but a little disappointing. I expected more out of the 3 competitors in it. You got JB Hayter and Ruby Soho, who are fantastic. Saraya is also a really good wrestler. I'm still iffy on if she's as good as she used to be. Probably because she hasn't had that many matches since returning. But there was nothing particularly wrong with the match, I just felt like it should have been better. The TNT Championship match, I was honestly happier a few days later when Wardlow lost the TNT Championship to Powerhouse Hobbs. 1, because I'm a huge fan of Powerhouse Hobbs, and 2, I'm just not that big a fan of Wardlow. Like I said, I know a lot of people like him, but I just don't get the appeal. I don't get it. Overall, just from the entertainment value of AEW Revolution 2023, I gotta say it was entertaining, it was worth it. So whereas I wouldn't say I would easily give it a 4 out of 5, I definitely think it squeaked out a 4 out of 5. Yeah! So there you have it, that's my wrestling review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications when I post the videos, and leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of AEW Revolution 2023. Love you guys.